In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Fale, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of radio affiliates here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. This program is actually taped at Fairfield Christian Academy, and the students help with the program. Behind the scenes, our executive producer, Kelly Roberts, does a good job lining the guests up, getting the questions together, and certainly appreciative every week to you, the viewers and listeners that join us. This week we've got a special guest. We have Tessa Burroughs with the dispatch unit, one of our dispatchers, in fact, one of the veteran dispatchers now.
Yes.
You've been there since 2002.
Yes.
And you have, tell us a little bit about yourself. Did you grow up in Lancaster, in this area?
I grew up in the Sugar Grove area, just outside of Sugar Grove.
Okay.
I did not move far from home. I built a house next door.
Oh, next door to where you grew up?
Yes, I did.
Are your parents still there?
My father and my grandmother, we all live right in a row.
Is that right?
Yes, it was very nice. I loved it growing up. It's been nice raising the kids to have family next door. Fortunately, they've never had to go to a babysitter.
Wow.
It's just a great area.
What a setup.
Yes.
And especially since you worked on third shift some.
Yes. Yes, it was very nice.
Now you have two
boys.
Two boys?
Yes.
And you were talking before airtime, they're in sports, keeps you hopping.
Yes, they keep me very busy.
All the
Football,
time.
baseball, yeah, all of it.
Let's talk a little bit about dispatching, and I've said this for many years, and you may have heard this. I honestly think that of all the jobs in law enforcement, dispatchers have the toughest job. You have to multitask. You are really set the tone because most of the time you're the first interaction that the community has, the citizens have when they call in to our 911 center. And so I guess the first thing, over the years, we've seen a big shift as far as people have gone to cell phones from the landlines. What effect has that had on the dispatching center? It's
gotten better than it used to be, but so many people have gotten rid of their landlines, and people always knew if you called 911 from your phone, automatically we knew where you were. And with a landline, that is 100% correct. However, with the cell phones, your name and address is not attached to that. So initially, we would not get any of that information, and we would hope that a caller could stay on the line and know where they are and be able to tell us where they're at. But as technology has changed, we've gone to, the wireless phase 2, so we can get GPS coordinates off of their cell phone and get a pretty good idea of where they are. It's not always 100% exact. So we're still hoping that they can at least tell us where they are.
Well, one thing that I thought of, and you can tell me if this is valid or not, and I was talking to Kelly before the program about this, it seemed to me that before the cell phones were in, if there would be an accident on 33, someone would go to the gas station, they'd put a quarter in, they'd call you. Yeah. Now, I've got to guess you get multiple calls.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you get inundated, it's hard to answer them all.
Right.
And they're all reporting the same thing, and it's amazing that one person will tell you there's 2 vehicles, no injuries. The next person will tell you there's 5 vehicles and 10 injuries, and the next person can say, there's just 1 vehicle and nobody's injured, and somebody else will say there's an entrapment.
Right.
You find the truth somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I bet.
Got to put it together. Yeah.
I bet people have different perceptions when they
exactly.
see certain things. And the other thing is, it would seem to me that unlike the past, now the dispatchers are more engaged with the entire situation because they've got you right on their cell phone wherever they go. Right. If they're in a cornfield looking for a lost child or whatever.
Right. Yeah, they're taking you with them, and you get calls about a drunk driver. You're not just taking the information from a passerby and hoping that you can figure out where they are. The people that call in, they're adamant about wanting them caught, and they're following them and giving you a play-by-play where they're going every turn they make.
Right.
With every call.
So what's the toughest part of being a dispatcher? Or one of the difficult things?
A lot of times if if you get a serious call and you're really invested in it, once you're off the phone, I mean, you can ask the deputy or the medics, you know, how did it go? But you don't get that, you're invested in it, and you don't really get the follow through or the closure to know that you got them help or that everything's okay.
Yeah, you're the first
Yeah.
contact, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're off onto
Yeah.
another call.
Yeah. It's a very thankless job sometimes. You're kind of the, you know, people say the unsung hero because you're the one, you do answer the phone and you send them the help. And people forget, oh, without that, yeah, I guess the deputies wouldn't get here.
Do you
Which
get
is okay.
Do you get a lot of calls from the same people, same
We
location,
do.
same?
We have some people that call all the time. And
Right.
we get to know. Some of them, I think, elderly people that are just maybe lonely because they call for little things.
Right.
And you just talk to them for a couple minutes and they're fine and they hang up.
Is that right?
Yes.
So when we talk about a 911 call, and I'm going to guess that probably some people call 911 when it's really not an emergency, right?
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
When's the parade? Those kind of things.
Yes.
For our viewers and listeners, Tessa, what would be the kind of calls that people should, when should they dial 911?
If there is an imminent threat, obviously if somebody's having a medical situation, they need medical help right away, car accidents, something that's happening right now and it needs assistance right away. Anything that you consider an actual emergency. I think people do get confused and they'll call on 911, you know, like you said, when's the parade, when's the time change, or they confuse it with 411 and they call asking for phone numbers. And sometimes we'll get people call 911 just they want their car unlocked and they don't know where to look or who to call to get assistance, so they'll just call 911.
Right, right.
But 911, if you have an immediate threat or need immediate assistance, something that's severe, then yes, that's by all means call 911.
Is there one type of call that you get more than others? Whether it would be the false burglar alarms or whether it would be the domestics or...
We do get a lot of calls for alarm drops, and luckily they are majority of the time false. They can be set off from the wind, or, you know, a dog or a cat inside the house can set it off. We've had alarm drops go off before that have emotion, and somebody had gotten balloons for their birthday.
I had it happen
And
at our house. I
The
really
fan
did.
blowing
Yeah.
moved the balloons, and that was enough to set the alarm off. We do get a lot of alarm calls. We get a lot of car break-ins, but the majority of those, they're not forced entry to a vehicle. People are leaving purses, computers, phones, you know, valuable items inside the cars and leaving them unlocked.
Right.
So the car's not really getting broken into. People are just taking the items that are left in them.
If I am a victim of crime, if it's some kind of an assault, if it's some kind of robbery, what kind of information do you need when you get those kind of calls? What's some things that I could prepare for? Let's say I come home and find my house broken into. Let's say that I've been a victim of a robbery, and I heard something kind of interesting, is many times when someone is a victim of a robbery, or say it's a lady, they might call their husband or call home before they
Yeah.
call the dispatch center. So what's some vital information that you need to know that you need to know to do your job?
I know the most comforting thing for them is to call a loved one first, but honestly, to call us first is the best thing. It's going to get us there quicker. We're going to get the information we need, and if it has just occurred, we can get the suspect information. We have a better chance at catching down the suspect. If you call your husband, your son, your daughter, whoever, before you're calling us, those minutes go by and the suspect is harder to locate. The more information they can give us, when it happened, where it happened, if they did see any suspects. We get people that call us, you know, they came home and their house was broken into. A critical piece of information we ask them is, have you been through the house? If they haven't been in the house, then we're going to assume it's possible somebody's still in there.
Right.
So we tell them to stay out. We'll send 2 units instead of 1 and have them clear the house before we let anyone go in.
And one thing you mentioned a few minutes ago I thought was interesting, that today when people have a medical emergency, and this wasn't like this a few years ago, you now have the training and the information to give them some information to address that medical emergency.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
We have gone All the dispatchers at our office have gone through EMD training, which is emergency medical dispatching. We have gone through a company that certified us in that. We took training in law enforcement calls, fire, EMS calls. We have a program on our computers that we can log into, and we can help take you through the steps, step by step for each situation. We can walk you through CPR. If you have a severe laceration, it'll give us the steps for that. If you sever a limb, it takes us through the steps for that. Any call you can think of. And it's very useful. It has been used. There have been several calls I know of. I have never had to talk anybody through CPR, but I have been in the room when other people have.
Well, it certainly could be save someone's life. Because if someone was having a stroke, if someone was in the pool, at the bottom of the pool,
Right.
that information has got to be so vital.
Absolutely. The sooner you can start treatment on those people, the better chance you have to save them.
I asked you what some of the toughest parts of your job. What do you like most about your job?
I love being able to help people.
Yeah.
I love my job. Right out of high school, I went to college, and I did go through the academy and was a deputy for a while.
Oh, okay.
I like dispatching. I like being there and being able to talk to the people and talk them through the situations. Some of the hard calls for people are, you get people who call in that have mental disorders, and they're suicidal, or they think that somebody is there that isn't. And those are hard calls for some people. I've had people in my family with those types of illnesses. So for me, being able to talk to them and have a background knowledge of how to talk to people like that, I like being able to talk to them and help them be able to talk them down and get them the help, and being able to reassure them that we're going to get them the help they need. That no, we don't see them as somebody that there's just something wrong with them.
And it's got to be also helpful if you, in fact, I didn't really know that, or I didn't remember that you used to be a deputy at one time.
Yes.
Where was that?
Hocking County
Hocking County.
at 18.
So that must give you a little better perspective,
It
because
does.
you've seen it from
Yes,
the deputy side and now the dispatching side.
absolutely. It does. It gives a lot of insight. There are questions sometimes that I may think of to ask that not necessarily another dispatcher in the room with me would think of, but I can anticipate sometimes, what the deputies are going to need or what they want, because I have been in their shoes and I have done their job.
We're just about out of time. I'd like to have you back next week, and one of the things I want to talk about are, you received a Gold Star Award,
Yes.
a very prestigious award from the state. We want to talk about that, and maybe some of the interesting calls that you've had, and if we can have you back next week, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Tessa Burroughs, dispatcher with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Appreciate her taking time out of her busy schedule to be with us. And again, I want to thank the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy that put this program together, along with our executive producer, Kelly Roberts, behind the scenes, and certainly you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. If you're out there driving, buckle up. We do appreciate you being with us. And every week, it seems I hear a lot of nice things about this program. And so if you have any thoughts or any comments or any kind of programs you like, let us know, or we'd be glad to try to do that. Well, God bless you. Until next week, we'll see you right here.